Hi there and welcome back to this second video all about explaining history basics. And in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about perhaps a not very nice thing that happens to everybody in school at a certain period of time, and that's dealing with, firstly, disappointing results and working out, secondly, where you're going to go from there. So if you're currently studying history and maybe you've just started in year 7 or year 8 or year 9 or maybe even your GCSE level and you're not getting the marks you want and you think, you start to believe in your heart of hearts that you can't do this, that you're no good at history, that it's a subject you can't do. Well, we've got to go back and remember what it is we're actually studying. And if you understand that, then you can see, or you'll be able to see, that it's really quite achievable. And what we're studying really is why change over time happens. Okay? Everything else on top of that, looking at source questions and thinking about essays and this kind of thing, is all based on this one question. Why does change over time happen? Why does change take place in societies and in ideas and in technology and across the world? Why does change happen in the way that it does? Why has change happened in the way that it has happened? Okay. Once you can see that that's what you're trying to work out, then it makes life an awful lot more simple. It simplifies matters immensely. So what you're not there to do, you're not there to learn lots of facts and then repeat them. I mean, whilst having lots of knowledge is a good thing, if you simply learn lots of facts and repeat them, you're never going to really get anywhere, because that's just not what the subject's about and not what you're meant to be doing. What you're meant to be doing is responding to questions that I try to get you to give an answer that is based around why change happens in the way that it does, or what possible reasons there might be. Okay, so it's my contention that anyone can be great at history, absolutely anyone. And there are no barriers to being great at history, because you know what? There are no fixed rules to history. There are no absolute rights and wrongs. There are in science, there are in maths, but there aren't in history because we haven't got a time machine. We cannot go back and say exactly what happened at the Battle of Hastings or in the civil rights marches of the 1960s. We can't. All we can do is make our best guesses based on the evidence that we have. And that means that your answer, as long as you're looking at the evidence in a particular way, is as good as anybody else's. Now, when you don't look at the evidence, or you don't read the evidence, or you look at the source material you've got in front of you for your exam questions, or you don't take on board any knowledge at all, then it's all guesswork and wild supposition, and nobody's going to get anywhere doing that. But it means that no one person, not even the cleverest historian in the world, is able to be absolutely certain about what the truth of a historical event is. Nobody at all. And some historians have a better idea than others because they've looked at more evidence. And the more evidence you look at, the more you know, the more you've read, the better your answers will be. So this leads me on to my next point: how to be great at history. How to be great at history is to read, and to read extensively, and to commit every day, perhaps, or a couple of times a week, to reading. Now that sounds like a tall order, doesn't it? You might be thinking there, well, I can't do that. Well, here's decision time, okay? You've got to decide now whether you're willing to commit to the A grade or not, whether you're willing to commit to understanding history on the highest level or not. And if you really want it, then there is a certain price to pay. Now, fortunately, it's not a particularly high price. It's maybe an hour of your time, either once a day or a couple of times a week. And as you spend that hour reading and maybe making some notes, and really just immersing yourself in the thing that you're talking about, be that the Tudors or Henry VIII or Nazi Germany or another topic, you'll start to realise that your mind and your brain are making all sorts of intellectual connections and developing and growing in ways that you're not even aware of, you can't even see. And you'll start to realise that learning is taking place. Many people start off with a huge thick book and they feel daunted and they think they can't do it and it's overwhelming and it's too difficult. And if you do feel like that, then go to explaininghistory.com/free stuff and simply work your way through some of the free study notes there, or you can always download an Explaining History ebook if you feel like it as well. And that helps to slim things down, to make them easy, to make them manageable. As you start to read more and more and more, you'll suddenly realise that you're developing a reading stamina very, very quickly, much as if you were doing running or press-ups. You'd suddenly realise that your body could do more and more and more. And you may come to see that you start to develop something of a taste for reading. You develop an appetite for it and demand to have more and more and more. This all happens through having structure, okay? Which is my next point. So if you're willing to commit to becoming great at history, if you really want to become the very best you can be, much as with athletics or any other discipline, you need to commit to a regular program of action. So find a space in your diary. Maybe start off with just 1 hour that you can set aside and do some reading, and then allocate yourself another and another. And the moment that you have 2 or 3 hours in the diary that you're going to stick to, you're going to commit to, you'll suddenly start realizing as you read that your knowledge is increasing. As your knowledge increases, you'll be better able to make judgments and have opinions, and this is the real essence of being great at history, having judgments and opinions that you can back up with knowledge. Because we all have judgments and opinions, but not many of us take the time or the effort to learn the facts that support those points of view. And once you can bring those things together, your standpoint, your view, your opinion, and the knowledge that supports it, you're absolutely on the road to victory. Okay, so I'm going to catch you on the next Explaining History Basics video.